Welcome back to Matt and Dave. Today with Matt and Dave, I'm Matt Ricker.
And I'm Dave Horvath.
And now Dave has your sports updates.
So we're going to start off with a little bit of Iona sports from the games that happened last week. And it was another shaky week for the Gales, which we really didn't win much, except soccer. Men's soccer, we'll start with men's soccer because that was the bright spot of the week. Men's soccer won 1-0 versus Drexel back on September the 12th. And then yesterday won 3-0 against Delaware. So good for the men's soccer team. They've been playing really well lately. We go over to golf. Golf last week at the Rutgers Fall Invitational on last Saturday, the 12th, came in 12th of 14th. So not the greatest finish, but it's okay. Hey, only going to get better. Men's water polo had a tough week last week, falling to last Friday at the Princeton Invite to Diablo Valley College 20-8, and then on Saturday the 12th they lost 15-6 to Santa Clara and 20-3 versus Pacific. So hopefully they can pick it up and have a good week this week. Women's soccer lost 5-0 to the Bucknell last Friday on September 11th. Tough loss. And then lost a close 1-0 game on Sunday, September 13th to Columbia. From what I was told, it was a very well played game. Just Columbia, had that one lone goal. Volleyball has continued to struggle as they lost 3-0 to Santa Clara last Friday at the Texas Classic, and then lost 3-0 to San Antonio, Texas San Antonio, and 3-0 to Colorado State on last Sunday, September 13th. And then men's rugby lost 37-19 to number 8 Wheeling Jesuit. Hard fought game. Some calls didn't go away. I happened to go to the game and watch it. It was just a tough game itself. But we'll just work to play better. But since we have a new week now, we will have time for Iona Sports to redeem themselves. So upcoming sports. Soccer will be playing tomorrow, Friday, September 18th at 7 p.m. versus Fairfield. Lacrosse will be playing on September 19th versus Stony Brook. The men's and women's cross country and track and field teams have a meet at the Brother Doyle Meet of Champions on September 19th, with the women being starting at 9:20 a.m. and the men starting at 10 a.m. Volleyball will be traveling to Siena, playing against Siena on Saturday, September 19th at 1 p.m. and then again against Marist on Sunday, September 20th at 1 p.m. Men's soccer will be playing against Hartford on Saturday, September 19th at 7 p.m. and then be playing against Yale on Wednesday, September 23rd at 4:30 p.m. Men's water polo will be playing against St. Francis Brooklyn next Wednesday, the 23rd at 7:30 p.m. And men's rugby will be traveling to play against Buffalo at 1 o'clock on Saturday, September 19th.
Ooh, that's a long trip up there.
Oh yeah, it's about an eight-hour ride. Took that last year for men's basketball.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I
Oh,
remember that.
oh yeah, it's a lot of fun when you're in a snowstorm too. Man,
Oh my
time
gosh.
does sure fly. It doesn't when you're sitting on a bus for 8 hours. It was forever. I remember when we got off to get food at about the 6.5 hour, 7 hour mark. We were like, "Oh, we there yet?" And like, "Oh no, we still got another hour and a half to get there." And we're just like, "Oh, fantastic."
And then you had after the game, turn around, come back.
Oh no, actually, what we did, they were smart, and we played against both teams, that Niagara and Canisius, because they're both up there in Buffalo, and
Ah,
so we
okay.
played against both, and then we did come home, and it's shorter. The ride down is somehow a little short. It's only about 6 hours.
Hmm.
So listen, the ride up there is not good, but the ride back is at least a little better. And yeah, you know what? I got one thing to do, Matt. Promise my mom. Hey, mom, shouting you out. Hope you hear me now on the radio, because last week I got told, why don't you call me out? You call out your friends, but you don't give me the shout out. So, hey, mom, just gotta throw that out there. Now, moving on to other college sports, not Iona related. Last week we had college football, week 2. Nothing really, no really big scores or changes. Utah won, but quarterback Travis Wilson. Utah beat Utah State, but Travis Wilson left early, the quarterback, who's had injuries in the past, so we'll have to see that ends up happening. Florida State ran all over South Florida, won easily. I guess one of the biggest highlights of the week would be Auburn just surviving against Jacksonville State. They won in overtime. It's one of those things where Jacksonville State, some little college, almost beats off the number 6 team in the nation, and Auburn had scored with like a couple seconds left in the fourth quarter to tie it just to go to overtime. So that's they won, but I know Auburn dropped in the polls because they had such a poor performance. Clemson handled Appalachian State very easily. Georgia Tech made very easy work of Tulane. Notre Dame beat Virginia, but they did lose quarterback Malik Zaire for the season, so that's a big loss in my opinion. I know they're saying that their backups are going to do fine, but listen, you losing a starting quarterback in week 2, it's tough. It's going to be tough, I think. CNF Austin got dismantled by TCU. Ohio State shut out Hawaii for a pretty easy win. Ole Miss put up over 70 against Fresno State, won it pretty easily. Georgia beat Vanderbilt, where defense and running back Nick Chubb had a field day in my opinion. Alabama cruised to 2-0 after beating Middle Tennessee. Toledo did upset number 18 Arkansas, so that is a big upset. That's really I think the only big upset of the week. Oklahoma played against Tennessee. They were both top 25 teams. Oklahoma ended up beating Tennessee in double overtime. So I'm talking about a thriller, Saturday night thriller on TV. Great game. Ball State got beat pretty bad by Texas A&M. Kyle Allen threw 3 touchdowns. Arizona beat Nevada pretty easily. Nick Wilson ran for 194 yards, and they had 3 touchdowns. And he ran for 3 touchdowns. And Anu Solomon passed for 264 yards and another 2 touchdowns. So you just imagine they really put up points. Missouri beat Arkansas State barely, though. Talk about another really close game. We'll have to see how Missouri handles this week. Baylor beat Lamar pretty easily, but they did let up a lot of points, something that I thought could be a concern in the future because Baylor is known as a high-powered offense where they score 70 bajillion points a game, but they let up a lot to Lamar, and I only wonder how's that going to face when they play a team like a TCU or Oklahoma State or Oklahoma, another Big 12 that can score but that has good defense. We'll have to see how that is. Michigan State got some revenge after beating number 7 Oregon last week. So that was a top 8 matchup, 5-7. Michigan State played very well. USC's offense steamrolled Idaho. It wasn't even a game. LSU, Mississippi State was another top 25 game. Really good game. LSU just survived Mississippi State on the last play. They went for a 2-point conversion, and they didn't get it, of course, and LSU just snuck out of there. So another really, really good game. Boise State was beaten by BYU, but BYU had a little bit of late game magic again to pull off the victory. They've done that now a little bit. Now I know they've made it to the top 25. And UCLA beat UNLV pretty easy. Paul Perkins ran for 151 yards, 2 touchdowns. Josh Rosen threw for another touchdown. He just played well. And looking at this week for college football top 25 games, number 11 Clemson will be playing against Louisville. Number 9 Florida State will be playing against Boston College. UConn travels down to play number 22 Missouri. Nevada plays against number 17 Texas A&M. Tulsa plays against number 16 Oklahoma. Air Force plays against number 4 Michigan State. Feel bad for Air Force. Number 23 Northwestern plays against Duke. It's going to be a good game. It's at Duke. I know Duke's actually favored in that game, surprisingly. Have to see. Go Duke. Georgia State plays against number 12 Oregon. I feel bad for Georgia State because I feel like Oregon's going to really want some payback after losing. So who knows the score of that. Number 18 Auburn. Look at Auburn. Won the game last week, but dropped from 6 to 18. Talk about a drop because they almost lost to nobody.
Wow.
They're playing against number 13 LSU, so that'll be hope to be a good game. Hopefully Auburn can play better and not get blown out. Northern Iowa will be playing against number 1 Ohio State. I feel bad for them also because I think Ohio State's going to steamroll. Troy plays against number 24 Wisconsin. Texas San Antonio plays against a new top 25 team, Oklahoma State, number 25. Feel bad for Texas San Antonio. I think Oklahoma State's going to put up a lot. And then Georgia Tech plays number 8 Notre Dame. So we're going to have to see now how is Notre Dame going to react now after losing their starting quarterback. Georgia Tech's played fantastic through 2 games. Listen, early season, top 25 matchup. Seasons can be made or break off of a game this early. South Carolina plays against number 7 Georgia. SMU plays against number 3 TCU. Stanford plays against number 6 USC. Kind of weird to not have Stanford have a number next to their name. Usually with all the success they've had over the last 5, 6 years, 7 years. They've always been a top 25 team, and this is a down year for them personally, I think. Number 15, Old Miss, after scoring over 70 the last two games, goes and plays at number 2, Alabama. That's going to be a good game, in my opinion. I'm really hoping to see a really just strong outing. I think Alabama's going to win just because they're better at defense, but you never know. Old Miss is playing really strong through 2 weeks. Number 19, BYU will visit number 10, UCLA. Another top 25 matchup, top 20. Be a good game, I think. Number 21, Utah will be at Fresno State. And Northern Arizona will be playing against number 20, Arizona. I also feel for Northern Arizona. I don't think it's going to look good. Hopefully it does. Let's pray. Pray for Northern Arizona, people. Now we're going to move on to the NFL since NFL started last week. We're going to start with last Thursday night, the game that started the whole year. Steelers Patriots, my Patriots, dropping down the banner. Tom Brady off of getting out of that suspension. Tom Brady threw the highlight from the game, threw 4 touchdowns, all to tight ends, 3 of them to Mr. Rob Gronkowski, Mr. Playmaker, Mr. Party Animal. You know, I would like to go party with Rob Gronkowski because that man seems to have fun no matter what he does. I know my sister absolutely thinks he's a goofball and a half, and I mean, come on, let's be real. He's a giant 6'7" goofball. But moving on then to Sunday games.
Go Steelers.
Oh, go Steelers. Ha, funny. Don't be upset because your Giants lost. We're starting on Sunday now. Packers beat the Bears. Pretty good game. I mean, a lot of mistakes by either side, but we'll have to see how they go. Chiefs versus Texans, a highlight of the game. Alex Smith, quarterback for the Chiefs, looked great, threw 3 touchdowns. But the highlight for the Texans, even though they were kind of blown out most of the game, they only lost by 7, but they were blown out most of the game. Defensive Player of the Year, J.J. Watt, had a field day out there. Had 2 sacks, 9 tackles, 6 of them for loss, tying a career high. Talk about a field day on a losing squad. Listen, I would never want to go against J.J. Watt. That man is a beast. He's the best defensive player there is. He may be the best player in football. He's amazing. Browns played the Jets. Jets won. I know we have a lot of Jets fans out there that were like, yeah, the Jets won. Oh, my gosh, the biggest. Oh, I know. Like, my buddy Nick Zolo loved it. They're so happy. My roommate John Murphy, so happy the Jets won. I was like, whatever, I don't really care. I don't like the Jets. But Brandon Marshall had a receiving touchdown. He played a crucial role, had that strip interception that really kind of turned the tides. But Travis Benjamin, got to give the Browns a little love, personally. Travis Benjamin had a touchdown, and he caught it from none other than Johnny Money Football. Johnny Manziel threw his first career touchdown pass last game. Finally, good for him. After everything he's gone through, I think if he retains the starting job, I think the Browns could do something this year. Maybe not make the playoffs, but maybe have a 500 year, maybe go over 500. I don't know. I think Johnny Football is the best chance they have if he can play at a high level. Then the Colts-Bills played. Colts looked terrible. Andrew Luck looked horrible. Tyrod Taylor for the Bills, though, looked fantastic in that opening. He did not make any mistakes. He just did everything right to win. Gotta give him credit. Then Dolphins beat the Redskins, and look at that. For the first time in I don't even know how long, all 4 teams in the AFC East, arguably the worst division in football, all 4 teams in the AFC East, all were 1-0 to start after this weekend. So, hey, who knows? Maybe the AFC East will be the best division in football this year. Panthers beat the Jaguars. Rams, don't forget about the Rams and their defense. Rams beat the Seahawks in overtime. Great game. Rams defense, both defenses came to play, but Rams looking really good. With Nick Foles out there, I mean, Nick Foles just had a really gutsy performance, and I think that Rams can be a contender this year. Cardinals beat the Saints, played very well. Chargers came back and beat the Lions. Lions started off hot and just, I don't know what happened. They just fell apart. Titans beat the Buccaneers. Now, a headline from this game, Marcus Mariota winning AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Looked fantastic. I understand he only threw 16 passes, but he went 13 of 16. He threw for over 200 yards and 4 touchdowns in the first half. That's you're
amazing.
telling me a rookie quarterback, and both were rookies. Jameis Winston played a terrible game. Jameis Winston coming from my favorite school, Florida State football. He didn't play terrible, but he made more mistakes. And it's really funny because they mentioned a stat during the game. Jameis Winston is the first time I think he's said he's ever lost back-to-back games. Back-to-back meaning he lost last year in the Rose Bowl against Oregon and Marcus Mariota, and then he lost week 1 of this year. Kind of funny. It's also funny that the only quarterback ever to beat him right now, so in college and NFL, is Marcus Mariota. He never lost to college. He won every college football game ever played, but the one against Marcus Mariota. And then,
Wow.
yeah, exactly, he's only lost to Marcus Mariota. That's kind of crazy when you think about it. Bengals beat the Raiders pretty easily. Ravens Broncos. I think it was a terrible game. They just looked like crap. Both teams. Both teams just there was no offense. There was only one touchdown scored, which was a pick six by Akeem Talib. I mean, geez, Peyton Manning was just getting leveled out there. The guy got sacked 4 times. It felt like he got hit another 50. I don't know if they can't block him, he's not going to make it through the year this year. And another note, Terrell Suggs tore his Achilles out for the year, so that's a big part of the Ravens defense is Mr. Terrell Suggs, Mr. T Swizzle, whatever you want to call him. And he goes by every single nickname I think out there. And moving on to the night game, Giants Cowboys. Kyrus score with 7 seconds left. It beat the Giants 27-26. I was sitting there with a couple of my roommates who were Giants fans, and all I know is we're watching this unfold. And when Tony Romo throws a touchdown to Jason Witten, and everyone just goes berserk. And I just started laughing. I was like, Giants, you can talk all you want about how, you're the best. But come on. That's just heartbreaking.
The Giants didn't do well at all.
No.
Oof, they got to really work on their game there.
No, they got lucky that they were winning.
Yeah.
Dallas, Tony Romo had a very good game, but Dallas made mistakes that allowed the Giants to be winning this game. Giants didn't have really much offense. Odell Beckham Jr., I expect him to show up, but that was a terrible performance. If you're supposed to be an elite of the elite receivers and do what you did, you better pick your game up, sir. I expect to see you pick your game up.
Mm-hmm.
And you move on to the Monday night. You had 2 games going on. Falcons, Eagles. Falcons played well. Julio Jones had a field day out there against the Eagles, so I wonder, Eagles got to think now, oh boy, maybe getting rid of Nick Foles may not be the best thing. Who knows? I mean, if Sam Bradford can stay healthy, maybe. But Sam Bradford has yet to stay healthy for a year. And then in the night game, Vikings 49ers. Carlos Hyde played very well, and they sank the Vikings pretty easily. And just throwing it out there because we're very good at rugby, they had Mr. Jared Hayne, former Australian rugby football player, is now playing for the 49ers. He was returning punts. I think he had a catch, had a couple carries. I said, good for him, making it out there. No one says you can't make it out there. If you go through other sports, you can always make it. And looking on to week 2 of the NFL this week, tonight with Denver versus Kansas City. We'll have to see. Demaryius Thomas was questionable. He's probably going to play tonight. I hope so, just for my own fantasy benefit. That'll be a good game. Let's see if Alex Smith can play another strong outing. And then on Sunday, it's Houston versus Carolina, San Francisco versus Pittsburgh, Tampa versus New Orleans, Detroit, Minnesota, Arizona versus Chicago, New England at Buffalo. Hey, let's see what the Bills do. Mm-hmm. I'm hoping my Patriots play well, but Bills look very strong last week. San Diego, Cincinnati, Tennessee, Cleveland. I want to see this now. If Manziel starts, it'll be first year versus I still consider Manziel first year. He really didn't have much experience. See Mariota. I'm waiting to see the encore from Marcus though. Can he wow me again? And Atlanta versus the New York Giants, St. Louis versus Washington, Miami, Jacksonville, Baltimore, Oakland, Dallas, Philly. The night game is going to be Seattle, Green Bay, and then Monday on the 21st, it's going to be Jets versus Indianapolis. I know my Jet fans are always saying, we're going to the Super Bowl. Because, in New York, you take everything way too serious and you win one game and now you're suddenly the greatest team of all time. But I'm expecting to see Andrew Luck play a better game than he did last because that was just horrible. And I'm sorry to say that, Mr. Luck, but that was horrible. I met Mr. Luck a couple of years ago. Really, really nice guy. Really smart guy. Knows football well, but, geez, didn't look good did not look good on Sunday. Now we're going to move over to baseball. Because there is a little bit of news in baseball. I know most of these divisions are kind of exactly the same where they were last week and probably won't change for the rest of this year. But there's some news. So Toronto still has a 3-game lead over the Yankees. I know a lot of hometown Yankee fans is like, come on, Yankees, come on, get the push.
Come on.
The Yankees are pretty well set off in the division. Even if they don't win, they're pretty good in the wild card right now. Kansas City has a 10-game lead over Minnesota. Like I said, they have, I think, 8 games left before they're eliminated from winning the division. There's only a few games left anyway, so I think that for them it's pretty much over. I think there's what will be 145 games in, so
Mm-hmm.
that's
Yeah.
what 17 games left in the year. So my math's right. Texas though, this is a big one. Texas overtook Houston for first place in the American League West. Now,
Wow.
and Houston's is back by a game and a half, and that would really be because Texas has won 4 straight games. Houston's lost 3 straight, and you know what? I remember back in was it June, beginning of June, they were saying how Texas had no shot. Texas was all done. They weren't gonna make the playoffs. Listen, Texas have a playoff team. Texas is gonna be making the playoffs. It's all because Josh Hamilton, baby. It's the Josh Hamilton effect. Even if he's not playing, Texas just plays better when he's there. And when we went to the National League, the Mets pretty much have the East. My bad, East secured up by 7.5 games. Even though Washington's moved up a couple games over the last few days, it's pretty much over in my opinion. There, St. Louis has a 4-game lead over Pittsburgh and a 7-game lead over Chicago. Pittsburgh had a chance. Pittsburgh was closer. They were, I think, 2 games out. They were really close to overtaking Cleveland, overtaking St. Louis, but they have the wild card all wrapped up pretty much. And the Dodgers have a 7.5 game over my Giants. Pretty much, it's probably not gonna be our year this year, but it's alright because we're not supposed to win the World Series on even years. It's odd years. It's even years we win. So watch out. And moving on to the wild card standings, Yankees for the American League, it's Yankees and Houston, and Minnesota's a game and a half. So Minnesota still has a chance, a game and a half out of the second wild card spot. And for the National League, it's Pittsburgh and Chicago, and they have a 7.5 game lead over the Giants. So, like I said, I think the National League is pretty much all wrapped up with teams. You have a couple in the American League, 2, 3 teams that could make it over each other, but baseball's with a couple weeks left, it's pretty much all done. Everything's gonna be set in stone. It's more or less now who's gonna be first seed, who's gonna be second, who's getting the bye, who's not. So we'll have to see how that ends up going. But that's it for the sports report today, Matt. So we're gonna take a short little break, and we'll come back with our last segment and talk a little bit about our little entertainment, pop culture.
Sounds good. We'll be right back.
Her marriage to singer Bobby Brown grew unhealthy, and in